Hello, welcome to the Jack and Joe show. I'm alongside Joe Sansom. Joe, how are you?
Yes, very well, thank you, Jack. How about yourself?
Yeah, no, good. Despite defeat at the weekend, Fulham losing by 2 goals to 1 to Aston Villa. Um, no shame in that, really. I think Villa are a good team. We'll get into it. But quickly, Joe, a word from our sponsors.
Yes, so for the entire season, Fulhamish is sponsored by Green King Sport, where football is more than a game, and we are still very grateful for this sponsorship. Get yourself down to a Green King Sport pub at any opportunity, but especially when Fulham are playing on the box and you can't, let's say at this moment in time, maybe you can't afford a ticket, which would be completely reasonable. The next one coming up will obviously be that game against Tottenham on the box in a few weeks' time. But Jack, there's
Mm.
some cracking games this weekend where you could go and enjoy it at Green King Sports Pub.
Yeah, not only at the weekend, but as this is out on Wednesday,
Oh,
on
of course,
Wednesday
the
evening.
European games.
Yes, there is, of course, a Champions League. Arsenal. I wonder actually. Or maybe this isn't on Sky. Oh, perhaps I'm wrong. So ignore me. Weekend. So yeah, the Champions League obviously this week. Porto away at Arsenal away at Porto. All over the shop already. Let's look ahead to the games on Sky and TNT at the weekend. No early kickoff this weekend. We head straight into the 5:30. Of course, Fulham play at 3 against Manchester United. We'll get into it. Bournemouth hosting Manchester City on Sky Sports. And the late game, the 8 o'clock on TNT Sports, Arsenal hosting Newcastle. Of course, Newcastle beat Arsenal in the reverse fixture. Wolverhampton Wanderers, they are home to Sheffield United on Sunday. Um, the early game, because the late game, of course, is the Carabao Cup final, where Fulham will
No
not be
comment.
participating. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
not there. We will not be there. We will not be there. Monday night football again. West Ham against Brentford, and I think I'll be there, which will be interesting. Joe, we lost 2-1. Muniz scored. Adama could have scored.
Yeah.
Wilson looked pretty promising.
Yeah.
Paulini is out for 2 games.
Yeah.
There was 3 disallowed goals. It was quite an eventful day down at the Craven Cottage on Saturday. What was your take?
Yeah. Thought it was a pretty even game that was in the end settled by who made the least mistakes
Mm,
and who's got the better quality up front. And although I thought the Muniz had another great game, not just because of the goal, I thought he was really impressive once again. And I want to preempt anything I say with that. I was really impressed with him.
hmm
Um, Watkins shows what having a top class striker can do for you. Can essentially make something out of nothing, and that run for the second goal. As much as I'd like to bash Diop for it with the job that he was given of sort of just basically staying with Watkins, it was great movement from a great striker and
mm,
unfortunately a great finish. The first goal annoys me far more because obviously it's sort of a routine we've got from throw-ins where you often see it where our winger comes deep, sort of running across the path of where the throw is to then try and launch a counter attack. And more often than not, it's not caused us any issues. We've not thought twice about it. But terrible throw from Robinson, well anticipated by Villa. And then there's sort of comedy of errors in the box until it eventually
yeah.
fell to Watkins, who finished it as you'd expect. What annoys me about that, Jack, is it was a mistake. And obviously, without that, it's 1-1. I know that's not exactly how it works because the pattern of the game would have changed, but
Mm,
yeah, frustrating because I think Villa were there for the taking on the day. I thought defensively they weren't at their strongest, partly due to personnel, but also just due to a few mistakes in playing out from the back. We obviously had the chance to equalise through Adama Traore, but at the time I'm thinking, oh my goodness, why didn't you lift it over the keeper?
yeah.
Then I'm thinking back to the Emirates when I said, why didn't you just play it under the goalie? So maybe
Yeah.
he can't win, and ultimately he could save. What frustrates me about that is it was absolutely fantastic play from Lukic, who came off the bench,
mm,
to win the ball back, play it to Muniz with a wonderful through ball, and Adama did well to get away from the defenders. It's just a shame that Martinez did save it. Um, I don't want to get into refereeing, Jack, because I feel like I don't want to take away from the reason that we lost the game, and the reason that we lost this game was nothing to do with the referee. The reason that we lost this game was through our own mistakes, but it was frustrating the manner in which the game was refereed. But one decision that was correct, in my opinion, Jack, was the yellow card for João Palhinha, which annoyed me immensely.
yeah.
80th minute of the game, I think it was. how did you feel when that happened? Because for me, this is going to sound bizarre. That hit me worse than the final whistle or a goal because I was instantly, my head was at Old Trafford, or should I say Uranus, because it was just completely elsewhere, thinking, how are we going to cope for the next 2 games without him?
Yeah, and it's not the first time we've been in this situation where we've been without him for 2 games, and even those 2 games were against the heavyweight in Arsenal and Brentford. Was the second game I seem to remember, and of course
Yeah.
we've got 2 games against Manchester United and Brighton. Yeah, it's tricky, and look, it was always going to happen, wasn't it? So I mean, oh my word, if we were in a Carabao Cup final this weekend,
Oh,
and
actually, wait.
I
Actually, would
don't
it
know,
count? I
would
don't know
it
if it
count?
counts or not.
I'm not
I mean,
sure.
either way.
Could
Imagine
you
if that
imagine?
counted. Imagine if that counted.
Yeah, well, thank God we're not there.
Yep.
It was frustrating. I thought at the time, oh, I think that is his 10th or whatever it is, and I just quickly put on the group chat, is that 2 games for Jay Pally? And I think someone said yes, it was, and yeah, it's frustrating. My head was okay up until the added time. 5 minutes. I thought that's too short. There's been more than 5 minutes worth of stoppages, and the ball was hardly in play for the 5. I don't know the precise number.
We
I
know
mean,
someone that does.
yeah, someone told me that it was 57 seconds. I passed that on to the Fulhamish group chat, and suddenly that was made into a tweet, and then all hell broke loose from that tweet. So my source, our source, might not be
His watch is
entirely accurate.
broken, but he's still a source.
To be fair, I haven't watched it back and counted it, but I'm sure someone may have, so it could be accurate. But it was, the point being, it was definitely not over like 2 minutes.
No.
The ball was in play for a really small amount of time, and in that time, Adama had that chance. Then I seem to remember Diaby going down and Marco Silva making a song and dance about it, and Gentleman Jim was telling him to get up and stuff. So that took a little while, and then the ball actually physically being in play was just Villa winning throw in after throw in, and then I think they won a corner or something like that, and it was incredibly frustrating. But we got a comment on our video last week saying you guys have the wrong mind. It was something like, you got the wrong mindset. We're not on the beach. You're being too complacent. Blah blah blah. To that I say, I don't care. I think we're on the beach. I think we're okay. I think we're a couple of maybe wins away from being definitely secured in the Premier League next season. So when the full time whistle went, it wasn't like I was like head in hands going, God, this is going to be so detrimental to us come May. It was sort of like, who cares? On to the next one. However, the fixtures coming up are difficult. Manchester United, Brighton, and Spurs. I think is it Spurs the third one after that one? Let me just double check. Oh, Wolves in between that, and then Blades after that. There is a chance that we pick up few points in the next 4 or 5 games. I think Sheffield United away is not a guaranteed win. Knowing us, we probably won't win, but that's an opportunity for 3 points. But I do anticipate we won't win a game until then, which could make some fans feel a little bit nervy. However, we're still 9 points above the relegation zone. There will be decisions being made between now and then for Everton and Nottingham Forest, hopefully, fingers crossed. Not wishing points deductions on any team, but also like hurry up and make
Every
decisions.
single team.
Yeah. Just hurry up. I don't want to pose to you the question, Joe. Are we in? Like, that's just boring. Let's look ahead now. Any final word on Aston Villa? Because we did throw a kitchen sink at them, and that was quite encouraging. However, it was frustrating to be 2-0 down and then go for it. But although we were sort of in the game, and it's not like we completely got. In fact, before they made it 2-0, we were all over them.
Yep. I guess what I'd end on is I think our performance merited a point. So it's not the end of the world. Obviously frustrating. The ironic thing is I'm complaining about sort of Villa game plan, but at the same time it's an absolute masterclass in how to run down the clock. And
yeah, brilliant.
The best example I can think of us doing that was at Villa in 2013-14, when I think we kept the ball in the corner the entire time as well.
Really?
And let's just say we weren't taking any of those corners properly. So, what goes around comes around. We've done it to teams as well. Sort of thing that you love when it's your team, you hate when it's the other team. So I can't really blame them. But yeah, it was really annoying. I think that if we were to play like that again, minus the mistakes, we've got a good chance of getting something against Brighton and against Tottenham in our upcoming home games. Away from home, as you know, Jack, to segue onto this United game, it's a different story. We've not been good this season. And I don't just mean results-wise, I would say performance-wise as well. We've just not been at the level required. I felt like last year we could really grind out wins. And ironically, aside from our first away game this season, we haven't been able to do that.
Well, do you know where we are in the table on away form throughout the whole season?
I do.
Yeah.
Because I looked just before this, 19th. 19th.
Bad, isn't it?
And I believe that if we'd hung on against Burnley, we'd only be in 18th.
Really? Yes.
I think.
Well,
so
about that.
It's rubbish. It's rubbish. And how many points have we picked up? Is that 7?
7 points away from home. So that's 1 win, 4 draws.
And 3 of them were when Iwobi was playing for Everton, which is just nuts.
What?
3 out of 7. I'm saying that because he had
draws. It was Arsenal, Brighton,
Burnley, Palace.
Oh God, that's dreadful. We've lost the rest.
Ironically, I would say that Everton, Arsenal, Brighton are 3 of the ones where you wouldn't expect to pick up too much in the circumstances. Maybe Everton slightly different, but also it is a hard place to go. United's a hard place to go, and they're in form. Performance-wise, they don't flatter to deceive, put it that way. I feel like 9 times out of 10 when I watch them, they seem to be getting outplayed. But, Jack, individual quality is such a big thing, and they normally seem to come out on top. Højlund in fantastic form, 6 league games in a row with a goal. Rashford starting to get slightly more joy on the left-hand side rather than when he was stuck up front. And Garnacho, who is one of those players that I sort of love to hate on the right wing.
I don't know.
Okay, maybe I just hate him. Maybe there's no love involved. You can get at this United team, but I have to say, purely due to the loss of Polina in our midfield, I instantly feel unconfident about facing them right now.
Yeah, it's a bad time to play them, and then without your best player, it makes it 10 times harder. So
yeah.
I wonder if Rashford will bother pressing any of our players. That'd be interesting to see. But look, there are slight positives. Luke Shaw went off injured against Luton. And who's the backup left back? Wan-Bissaka's still out, isn't he?
It would be Malacia, but he's not involved. So Lindelof came on at left back at Kenilworth Road. Right,
so they're going to have to maybe switch things about in the back line and play a player perhaps out of possession. That doesn't change the whole complexion of the game. 11v11, they have much more quality than we do. Kobbie Mainoo has been a player who has really excited myself and maybe a lot of other people so far this season. Casemiro's a walking yellow card anyway. Maybe try and frustrate him and maybe we'll see a red card be brandished to him. Bruno Fernandes will just be very frustrating, and I'm not looking forward to watching him at all complain about everything to the referee. Garnacho is very good. Rashford's obviously got his threats going forward. And Højlund's scoring plenty of goals. Varane very solid. Onana's improving. Maguire is getting his confidence back, and Dalot is turning into a really good right back for Manchester United as well. Now then, Fulham. Because no João Palhinha, we have to switch the midfield around. And will this be the trigger point for Gareth Southgate when he sees Harrison Reed put in a monster class at Old Trafford and goes, yeah, I'll have him for March internationals? Joe, I'm going to come with you first with your Fulham 11, and then we'll go back and forth and see if I change anything from what you say.
Awesome. Okay. Well, for the sake of this, I'm going to assume that no one else is injured, purely because we don't know yet. We haven't had the presser. So I'm just going to assume that Jimenez is out.
Right.
And Tete will be back by now. And the reason I say that is because...
But what about Willian? Because he went off at half-time and nobody asked in the presser after if he was okay. And there was a couple of tweets saying it looks like he's done his hamstring, holding his hamstring. So that might be... Bear in mind that Willian might be out on Saturday. He's just a small thing, maybe.
I'm sort of expecting him to be out, so I was going to go without him. Okay, obviously, sure. if he's available, I'd go with him all day long. Leno in goal.
Right.
I'd go Tete at right back for this one from a defensive standpoint up against Rashford. Centre backs all change for me. I think Tosin and Bassey are our best centre backs, so I would play them both.
Yeah.
Robinson, left back,
Hello.
given.
Yep.
No Polinia, so Harrison Reed
You're
has to
right.
come in for me.
Okay. Now then,
Pereira, do something challenge impossible, so he drops
against
to the
his
bench
former
for me.
team.
Against his former team, he drops to the bench. He
Right.
wound me up a little bit for no reason on Saturday.
Okay.
Iwobi has to start, but I'm not going to go to him yet because of no Willian. So I'm going to go with Harrison Reed. I'm going to go with Lukic, who I do think
Okay.
flatters to deceive slightly,
See.
but
Right.
I'm saying everyone flatters to deceive. They don't, but I'm going to play
It
him.
was enough to give me a bit of confidence he can create something.
Yes, exactly. And he put in a storming foul to make me think that he can at least get stuck in this time. So I'll
First
go with him.
contribution.
And then Tom Kearney.
Yeah, in the 10.
So that's the 3 in midfield. I'm going with... So this is a bit weird. I'm going with Harry Wilson on the left because of when he came on the other day,
Okay.
he went on the left and I thought he looked great. I
Okay.
really liked it. Moon is in the middle. And I'm going to go with Iwobi on the right. And
Right.
Iwobi on the right really coincided earlier in the season with when we started scoring 5 goals every game briefly, which is great fun. It was Willian, Jimenez and Iwobi. Would love to see that. What would you change?
Oh, I mean,
Everything.
I had one thing in my head
Yeah.
that I don't think is going to happen, but I just want it to happen just
Okay.
because I want Adama Traore to start. I do.
Okay.
I really do.
I can
However, I don't
understand
think
it. It's a massive pitch.
I know. Just run.
Just run.
run.
The problem we have is when he actually does get to the other side.
Yeah.
In
product.
I have zero faith in him to score a goal for us, but at least we will be down that end of the pitch.
I want him to start, but also logically, he shouldn't. He should come off the bench for either Iwobi or Wilson. And I agree. I agree. When Wilson was in the left, he was good. And I think that I would start Brozier. And the reason I do that is I know Money Muniz is scoring goal after goal, but I think he'd be a good little impact sub. I'd start Brozier from the start, get him a start, get him comfortable in an environment where I think he may have played at Old Trafford earlier this season, the 2-1 loss, the night we beat Forest 5-0. I think he did play in that fixture. That doesn't mean anything. Just get him starting. He was obviously ill last week, which is quite unfortunate. But
yeah, it's unfortunate.
I kind of do want to see him play a bit of football.
Same.
And
what would also be good is to not have to pay Chelsea any money.
Exactly. I mean, that would be good, but also like I can understand it if that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. But I would give Brozier the start ahead of Muniz. Nothing against Muniz. I just think that I'd like to see what 70 minutes of Brozier. What's he got against United, up against Maguire, up against Varane, and then I'd go Iwobi. You know what? I was gonna sort of say that Reed and then Kearney and then Iwobi, and then we have. But then obviously Willian's not playing. So you have Bobby Reed, and then you've got Wilson on the left, maybe, and Bobby Reed on the right, which could work defensively with the work that Bobby Reed puts in going forward. But then I think we lose a bit in midfield. I think we're going to get overrun, and we said that before when Reed's played with Kearney in the midfield too, behind the 10, who I think should be Iwobi this time out instead of Pereira. There was a game, I can't remember which one it was, where actually we seemed to be all right. But this is Manchester United we're talking about. I sound like fucking Gary Neville. But so I will agree with you, not reluctantly, but
reluctantly, Nico. Don't cross him. He's got Patreon.
Yeah,
come on, guys.
Don't screenshot his Patreon. So in a very long-winded way, I think I agree with your team. Apart from Brozier for Muniz, I would like to see Kenny Tete. I would like to see Tosin and Bassey. And I would obviously like to see Robinson. So this is going to be good fun, I think, at Old Trafford. What do you expect in terms of a scoreline?
Oh God, I don't really want to say it. I don't actually have a score prediction, but put it this way, I will be very surprised, gleefully surprised, if we were to get something.
Yes.
I am expecting, not hoping, but expecting a loss in this one. And the reason for that is twofold. It's us without Polinia. Although it should be noted that when we did have our we've had 3 games without him this season. 4, sorry. The Man City
Okay.
one, Man City, we'll put that to one side after
Right.
the whole Bayern thing the day before.
Yeah, understandable.
Brentford at home, obviously all switched with that red card. Until then, I thought Lukic was doing all right. The other 2, we've won
Everton.
both. Everton away and Wolves at home. So
That was
it's
yeah,
not,
yeah.
we can play without him, but it's the
It was
away
much better
factor.
this season than it was last season without him. Without him last season,
Exactly.
we fell apart. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So I do have some hope, but I don't know what it is. The way United are playing at the moment, I think we can cause them problems. I just think they will cause us more. And that's just from a defensive standpoint. So I hope to be proven wrong, but I would snap your hand off for a point in this one.
Let's not forget, I know United are on good form. Bournemouth went there, won 3-0.
True.
Teams have gone there and won.
Yeah.
Brighton won there. Newcastle won there in the Cup. They're unbeaten in 5, Manchester United in the Premier League. However, I had a hot take at the beginning of the season saying that we'd win at least 1 win away from home, and that was at Manchester United.
Yeah.
And given the nature of what happened at Liverpool, and we were unlucky,
Yeah.
and we lost narrowly to Chelsea. They're not top 6 as such, but okay. I'm going to say Fulham are going to win. I'm going to say Fulham are going to win by 2-1, with the winner coming off the bench, Money Muniz.
Money Muniz.
I just got this strange feeling that
I love it.
Just sometimes when United hit so much form and like, oh, Ten Hag, they're back, United, and then they just go and collapse and lose to a mid-table team. We are that mid-table team, and Fulham, I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win.
I love that. You know what? You've changed my mind now.
Oh, it's not enough for me to book a ticket and go to Courtyard and do the stupid £2.20 cocktails before and lose my head because we obviously will not win. But I will be watching on my sofa on perhaps a stream that is not legal. However, I think Fulham are going to win. And I think we're going to be first on Match of the Day. And it's going to be the big story of the day.
I love this.
Actually, it won't be because Arsenal play Newcastle. Hey ho.
Yeah, but they won't have time to do the highlights for that yet. So
they'll be last, scrambling together their 7-minute edit. Joe, this has been a lot of fun, actually. One last question.
Okay.
We lost at the weekend, blah, 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 whatever. Are we in any danger again of looking over our shoulders?
No.
Okay. Okay, great. I agree.
I touch wood, hope doesn't age terribly. I think we're still much better than the teams below us. I think we've got enough points to have a little blip. Not that we've had one yet. We've lost 1 game, but we could have a blip, and I think we could afford it. Obviously, we're not done yet. Like that person in the comments said last week, we are not mathematically safe. I get the sentiment, but I think we will be. I think we'll be fine.
Okay, that's good. That is good. Yeah, that's probably it for today. Fulham playing Manchester United the weekend, and then we host Brighton, and then we go to Wolves. I'm going to Molineux. Are you going to be there?
Unconfirmed whether I'll be at Wolves or Sheffield United or both at this stage.
I am going to be at both. I'm very excited. I've done less aways this season due to work commitments, and it's got the fire in the belly again, booking those away days. Because
speaking of fire in the belly, it was fire in my singed eyebrows last time as we were down the side. But they put us in the corner this time, Jack.
They have, yes.
I didn't see that, yeah.
They have.
Upper tier or lower tier? Which have you gone for?
I don't actually remember. I think it's upper tier.
Okay.
Which will be interesting. I know there was a lot of stairs to get up there. Anyway, final word. Just no, I don't know. I don't know. Fulham are mid-table. We're doing all right.
Yeah.
And Palace drawing with Everton last night was interesting.
Yeah.
And there's still decisions to be made over 2 other teams this season. It's believed. It's like Premier League rivals believe that Forest are going to get a points deduction. That doesn't that doesn't mean anything, but also like, can they? Because then we can just relax. Not wishing points deductions on anyone, though, reiterating the point. Thanks so much for watching. And Joe, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Enjoy the trip to Old Trafford if you're going.
Yeah, no, do enjoy it. And I would recommend going to Courtyard beforehand. because not only is the drinks really, really cheap, but the food's also really good as well, but not necessarily very healthy. Thanks so much for watching, and well, come on Fulham.